Hey everybody, it's Dave Cathey, the Food Dude here at the Oklahoman, and we are, I guess, in pandemic mode today here on the Zoom. I've got with me Bruce Rinehart, owner chef of Rococo and the Manhattan, and then the big Kahuna, Kurt Fleischfresser, Western Concepts, Vast, you name it. He's had a hand in it somewhere along the way, and of course both Oklahoma Restaurant Association members, and they have been working very hard with that association lately. But gentlemen, first, tell me a little bit about how things have been going. I mean, this is not a fun time right now. This is not fun and games. We're not here to say, oh, things are just so great. Bruce, tell me a little bit about how Rococo and the Manhattan have been working through the challenges.
Well, since early March, the priority has been the safety of our staff, our family, our guests, our friends. And these have been trying times, to say the least. Working through the different phases, the different aspects. Trying to stay alive, frankly, and we've made the best of it. We're still here. That was our mission, to survive this. And, there's a lot of realities that are now in place that we need to accept, acknowledge, and adjust. And that's what we're trying to do.
Kurt, tell me a little bit about what's been going on with you guys at Vast and Western Concepts.
Well, we're basically been still in phase 2 as far as our procedures and how we're handling things. We are trying to be as efficient at cleaning. It's a kind of, curbside worked for a long time. The hutch was open the whole time doing curbside, and then slowly started taking people inside. And Vast, for obvious reasons, we weren't doing curbside, but we did open up in June, and we're taking it slow and making sure we can take great care of everybody. And Fast, once you get up the elevator, we have a great space because the air returns are so far away. We have plenty of room. Technically, we get 450 on each floor, so we can do a lot of things. So, but we're just trying to stay ahead of the curve on this stuff.
Yeah. Now, Kurt, I know you in particular, you've been working overtime outside of your regular job with Vast and Western Concepts, and working with the Oklahoma Restaurant Association, trying to come up with some sort of game plan for restaurants to follow going forward. Can you take us through a little bit of what you guys are talking about right now?
Sure. Well, I'm chair of the Oklahoma Restaurant Association this year, and it's really it's tough enough just to do this in a bubble, but if you have social media, hater trolls, and false information and everything else, what we want to do is stay calm, be smart, be good, mentors and friends to all the restaurants. We're not competing during this. We've always been a close group of restaurateurs, but I've never seen it like this. And we're sharing ideas, issues, information. There is so many Oklahoma City, Tulsa, all over the state, strings of emails and text groups, and just really support group to make sure we get through this and can stay open. There's a little misinformation. You mishandle an outbreak. You want to do the best, so you close. You sanitize and everything else, and all of a sudden you're upside down $10,000 on a day where you might have made $5,000, and that's the extreme, and it's not really the way to handle that. So we're trying to communicate how to handle, stay open, because a couple of these restaurants, if they have to do this twice, they'll never open back up.
Right, very expensive. So Bruce, you and I have talked. You've got kind of a view on how we can do this thing with limited dining capacity, because that's a reality. When a restaurant has to operate with limited dining capacity, diners need to understand that means they can only operate with half the potential income. Okay. And so it's very important that we're able to do some amount of this just so we can keep doors open through this thing and keep people getting paid. Now because of this, we got health risks, so we have to be really careful. Bruce, why don't you take us through kind of your vision of dining in the COVID-19 era?
Well, especially now, and then moving forward, this is not going anywhere. I'm not a fan of the new normal, as a quote. but I am so aware of the reality. And as Kurt said, Rococo and the Manhattan, we never went away from phase 2 anyway. So, sanitizers, stations, sanitizers at the door, the host stand, mask wearing, social distancing. We've been very, very conscientious of this. Washing, rinsing, sanitizing, it's what we do and always have. But there is that heightened sense of awareness. For me, I had a dear friend, and it's been a polarizing discussion about mask, but we need to wear them, and it is part of life now. So a friend of mine came by and said, Bruce, how do you think I can realistically eat and drink with a mask on? And I said, well, you don't with a mask on. But here's what you can do. So you wear a mask when you go out.
Yeah, like this?
Yep. Then you enter a restaurant, okay, with your mask on. That's a community area there. People going in, people going out. There's a little bit of that cross proximity. You greet the host. You get sat, your social distance. You get comfortable. Your server's going to greet you. That server's going to have a mask, has already washed and sanitized. We go through our hospitality piece. We get beverages. We get our guests comfortable. We would prefer that the guests do their order with their mask on, and then take your mask off. Relax. Let it drink. And so from there, you have your beverages. You enjoy each other's company. You enjoy some great food and drink, and kind of let the outside world go a bit. If you use the restroom, put your mask on, use the restroom, wash, rinse, sanitize, go back to your table, take your mask off. Enjoy the rest of your experience. Now you should be feeling good. You've enjoyed some life. When it's time to go, you put your mask on, you wave bye, I'll wave bye, 6 feet, and go live your life. And you can do that. You can enjoy. You can support your local restaurants. A great majority of our independent restaurants are doing this. They're doing it daily. And all of us as a community want these restaurants to survive this. We're the fabric of the community on many different levels. And no one is immune from not making it through this. So we need the public's support, and hopefully we can guide them in a way that they are comfortable. They can feel safe, because they are. The majority of these independent restaurants are probably the safest places you can be. So,
yeah, let's talk about that real quick, because when as reopening started phasing in June, there was always the information out there from the scientific community saying that there would be a spike. That was always the case. And if the restaurants and bars open, it stood to reason that would be where the spikes came from. So we can't say that we're completely surprised by the spikes. Now, the size of it, we're very horrified by that. And so that's why the mayors had to take action, and a lot of different states have had to take action. But at the end of the day, the virus is passed mainly if you're not wearing a mask. It's passed face to face. So if a restaurant has to close temporarily for a positive test, 9 times out of 10, it won't be because there's somebody in the restaurant at that time or anything like that. It may be somebody who tested positive who's never even come back into the restaurant. That's fairly common. On the other hand, if somebody has been in and out and and test positive, everybody who's been in contact is tested. The restaurants have thus far been closing briefly, sanitizing, and reopening. Now, what does that do to the consumer on the outside? Absolutely nothing. On the other hand, when you are scrolling social media and you're seeing, oh gosh, so-and-so had to close because they had an infection, that is not a sign that you should avoid that restaurant.
Correct.
The point you and I talked about this. If you're ordering stuff from Amazon.com right now and receiving goods from Amazon.com, then you're receiving goods from one of the top infection passers in the nation. They've had all kinds of outbreaks around the Amazon warehouses because people work in close proximity, but that doesn't affect the goods that go out. And the same thing with the food. Science isn't showing that people are passing this virus on food. And I know it's weird to even talk about stuff like that.
Not even one recorded incidence of that.
Think of all the processing plants,
Right.
suppliers.
Yeah, that's our food supply.
Correct.
It's food at our grocery store.
Exactly.
It's coming through places that have passed through the virus. The virus is not carrying along, so far as we can tell, on food. So if nothing else today, if we can get that point across, that a positive test does not mean you should avoid a restaurant. If anything, it means you should support it even more, because Kurt, as you indicated a minute ago, it's very expensive to shut down when you're up and running out of nowhere. When you don't have a planned pause and all of a sudden you're closed, you got people on staff, you're paying utilities, you have expected income coming, that's gone.
Yep, money going out, no revenue.
No revenue coming in, and then you got to spend on top of that. And so
exactly right.
Yeah, and so when you reopen,
it's hard. So right now, what we're trying to do, just one more layer of that respiratory component. We're wearing a mask and everything, but now we're going into our employees' personal lives and saying, hey, when you're not here, you gotta do the right thing. You can't hang out with all these people. You can't go to the concerts and walk away and work with us. So, this thing is getting so huge that you have to look at every nook and cranny to try to figure out how to stop it. And that's what we're doing. So, we're educating our guests. We're educating our, employees at work, off work. It's a battle that we're just going after every day.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to add to what you just said, Kurt, and because you were, as long as I've been doing this, you made this point to me first many years ago that you guys are in the hospitality business. All right, your profession is hospitality, and this is the opposite of a time when you can be hospitable. Unfortunately, I mean, you can be as hospitable as when you have a guest. There's a time. There's a period in that exchange where there's hospitality. But the overarching reason for being open right now is not so much hospitality as it is survival and trying to be a part of the community and contributing to the community as it weathers this pandemic and tries to get through it, because we need restaurants to be open. We really do. The grocery stores need another place for people to go get food. We at home need to be able to not dirty up our kitchen every single day, especially with busy lives that we have. We need to be able to work in concert, so I'm very happy to see you guys are organizing the way you are as independents, because I know that's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Well, we pride ourselves at our restaurants. We try to never say no.
Right.
We may say we can't do that. It's going to take us a couple of days. But yes, the answer is yes. But now we're having to say no. No, we can't take our mask off, even if you don't care. No, you can't go in that table. We're saying no, and it's really hard for us to do, actually.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear you said, because that's what I want. People don't understand the business that you guys are in, and it is unprofessional for you guys to say no. And now the community sort of requires you to be able to say, and it puts you in a bad position because you're having to overstep hospitality, or what must feel like you're having to step outside of hospitality, but it's not. I want you to know it's not inhospitable to tell people to put on a mask during a pandemic.
And right now, you may see a side of these restaurateurs that's a little edgy or whatever, because right now is not the time for our staff to tell us how to run the restaurants. It's not the time for our customers to tell us how to run the restaurants. We're going to take the best line of attack we can, and we're going to go with it, and we're going to stay firm. And that's kind of what we're trying to get as a group, people to have that level of safety and comfort for everybody. But we're not going to waver when other people are telling us things that aren't beneficial to dining experience.
Absolutely. So is there anything that diners specifically that diners can do to make your life a little bit easier during this time?
Well, for me, it's, as we preach to our staff on a daily basis, we all need to be sensitive to each other, respectful, and understand and appreciate what's going on, regardless of some of the polarizing views. Mm-hmm. Asking someone to wear this is not it's not a deal. and should it be? And, you know, sadly, and I'm sure Kurt can attest to it, we've had pushback. It's hard for me to grasp and understand. This is a simple thing. And it's when you go all the way back to the beginning of March, you know, the few steps, if you will, that are effective is wearing a mask and social distancing. It's partial bread. That's it. You know, the mayor is now saying, you know, yeah, if you don't have a mask and you're talking to me and you're in close proximity, you're spitting up. You know, we can do this. We can get through this as a community. And we welcome the public support. You know, wear a mask, come see us. So,
yeah. On a what the customer can do for us level too is we don't have all our tables, you know, and we get a little bit more tables on the patio. So if you would consider not camping out at these tables, as fun as it is to get back together, yeah. we have to make more money at each table and make, you know, and we need to make people happy at those tables. And when people are sitting there waiting for hours for somebody to get up the table and they're just nursing a cup of coffee or something, yeah. You know, we don't feel good kicking you off a table, but at the same time, you might be conscientious and go, hey, I had a great hour and a half meal. I'm ready to give mine up and do something else. So
yeah, I think, and the other thing, I correct me if I'm wrong, but they can order takeout, right?
For sure.
Takeout, delivery, pickup,
delivery, super safe.
You get some great deals on some bottles of wine without
that's right. Right now,
without the other layer of tax we normally have to put on.
Yeah. So. Yeah, there's some other options. So let's kind of finish on a little happier note. We got the 4th of July coming up. You guys got any plans this weekend? Anything going on at the restaurants?
Well, for me, I'm actually with everything that's going on, I'm going to close for the weekend. Only for everyone to just take a break, get to with their families, be safe. And I just want everyone to kind of mentally and physically reset. And then next week, we're rolling out a Rococo pizza, Roman style with focaccia. It'll be a great to-go item, pickup item, you know, paired with our love salad. It'll be a great package deal, and those will be available at both the Rococo locations.
Awesome, man. We'll have a great 4th of July. Yep. Yeah. Kurt, what about you? What's going on?
I'm going to echo Bruce's. I mean, our staff is so worn to the frazzle that we're taking weekend off on almost all the places. So they get a well-deserved break. You know, dude, you know I love to cook outside, so I'll be cooking outside on some hardwood and just having a good time.
Outstanding.
There might be a beverage in there too.
I'm sure there will be some rosé involved. It is reddish, you know. It's in the color scheme of the weekend. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us today. And
thank you.
Best of luck with going forward.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.